Okay, welcome back. Last time we made our way through my choices for my favourite Pokemon of each type of Generation 9, and now we get on to the big one, where we get to go through every type, every gen, and determine what is basically the best of the best. However, I will just state outright, obviously because I didn't double up on things for some subtypings, this isn't like a numerical list, I suppose. So let's just start off with the normal type. So we have Snorlax, Furret, Exploud, Staraptor, Stoutland, Pyro, Drampa, Wooloo, and Oinkologne. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna say these four, no. I'm narrowing it down to Staraptor and Snorlax, I think. Okay, I like Furret the most in terms of one I would want as a pet, because Furret is just really cute. But in terms of using one in a playthrough, I think I have to say Staraptor. It's really fast, it's really strong, it gets pretty solid move coverage, it gets Intimidate. Basically, it is one of the quintessential Gen 4 Pokemon for a reason, and I think I have to stick with Staraptor for that purpose. But at the same time, Stoutland is amazing in Black and White and Black and White 2. But I love Furret, and I do try to use one every time I play Heart Gold, Soul Silver if I can. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with Staraptor for now, but I'll think as I keep going, and I might change it over later. So moving on to Fire type, and I'll be honest, this is immediately narrowed down to 3. It is Arcanine, Houndoom, and Infernape. And honestly, these are all interchangeable. I should also note, Infernape would probably win for Fighting type here, because honestly, Fighting type is one of the probably easier decisions I'll have to make today. But I think for Fire type, no disrespect to Torkoal, Darmanitan, Crocodile, Braixen, Torracat, or Cinderace, I just realized for the last 4 gens, they've all just been the starters. Mostly in their second evolution, and then just Cinderace is also here. Okay, so Infernape is, one of the absolute all-stars. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's the starter in Sinnoh for me. But if I don't pick Chimchar in Sinnoh, 9 times out of 10 I will just use a Houndoom. And I would love to use a Houndoom in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but it's just not feasible to get one without trading and doing a whole bunch of hassle. But at the same time, no, I'm going to go with Arcanine. I'm going to go with Arcanine because, although it is a stone evolution, which is very inconvenient, it has Intimidate, which is really reliable. It has Extreme Speed, which is very reliable. It has strong attack, strong speed, it can take a hit pretty well. Across the board, Arcanine is fantastic, but I do love Houndoom and Infernape equally as well, so that is a 3-way tie for first place in terms of practicality. Okay, so, water types. We have Tentacruel, Octillery, Ludicolo, Empoleon, Samurott, Clawitzer, Primarina, Dreadnought, and, what's this thing called? Veluza, that's what it's called. Okay, so, instantly, I'm leaning towards one of these 3, I think. Tentacruel, Primarina, or Samurott. And honestly, I think it might be Tentacruel. Genuinely, I think it might be Tentacruel. Although Octillery, though. Okay, I'm gonna go with Tentacruel, partially because it's available in basically every game. So regardless of which game I'm playing, I know it will always be an option, and it will always be a reliable option at that. However, At the same time, Samurott, I think, is a fantastic starter Pokemon, same with Primarina. I wish Octillery was a little bit faster. Octillery's speed stat is really what's kind of, like, weighing it down. Like, that's the anchor weighing it down from being possibly top of the list. And I want to give special mention to Mantine here. Mantine would also probably do really well here. Also, obviously, Kyogre and other legendaries would, you know, also be very high up there. So, moving on to Grass type. And this one is, honestly, this choice suddenly got a lot harder to make because my actual answer would be Roserade. Roserade is probably my favourite grass type total, but obviously I have it here in poison type. Now, it basically comes down to what is my second favourite one. Okay, you know what? Okay, here's what I'm going to do from these going forward. I'm going to ignore their subtypes. I'm just going to look at the Pokemon I have in front of me and make my decisions based on those. Okay, so, grass type. It's either Sceptile or Torterra or Vileplume. I think I'm going to go with Torterra. I'm going to go with Torterra because although I'm not a huge fan of Grottle, the Turtwig line is really reliable. It's strong, it's good defensively, it's very slow, but you know, it's a tortoise, what are you expecting from it? And also, it just naturally gets Earthquake. It can handle most of Gen 4 pretty handily. And honestly, I think it looks really cool. So I think I'm going to go with Torterra for this. Much like with a couple of the others here, I will think about it more as I go, but for now I'm going to go with Torterra. Okay, electric types. Honestly, this might be Galvantula. This could be Galvantula here, to be totally honest. Okay, so, let me just try to think about this. I know it's not Vikavolt, I know it's not Bellibolt. Those are like bottom two for me. Then, I think Heliolisk is okay, but I like Boltund more than Heliolisk. Okay, so, I like Boltund more than I like Heliolisk. Do I like Boltund more than I like Galvantula? Probably not. Do I like Electivire more than I like Galvantula? Actually, it might be Electivire. I don't know, I can go back and forth on some of these. Because honestly, I'm making this video, I'm making this video, and honestly, by the time I edit it, I'll probably have changed my answer. I think I'm going to say Electivire just for now. No, it has to be Galvantula, it has to be. I use Galvantula in a playthrough more often, so I'm going to say Galvantula. But if I'm basing it on that, then Ampharos is actually the winner. But no, I'm going to stick with Galvantula for now, because it's fast, it's reliable, it has good coverage, and it's also, like, practical to get in a playthrough, because I don't remember how to get the Electrizer in most of these games. I think it's just, like, a random item you can find. Is it Electrizer? No, I'm going to stick with Galvantula. No, I'm going to go to Electivire. I'll switch to Electivire because it's fast, it's powerful, getting the Electrizer is a bit of a pain. But at the same time, it fixes a lot of my issues with Electabuzz. I don't know, I'm gonna think about this one even more than the Water and Flying, Water and normal ones. But I'll be coming back to those. Okay, Ice type. Now this is a tough call. Weavile would be in this conversation as well. Okay, so, Lapras. Do I like it more than Sneasel? Yes. Do I like it more than Walrein? Maybe. Okay, I like Walrein's design more, but I like Lapras as a Pokemon more. So, Glaceon. Glaceon is probably my favorite Eevee evolution, but I like it less than Lapras and Walrein, I think. Vanilluxe, no. Aurorus, no. Okay, so it's top 4. Top 4 are Lapras, Walrein, Glaceon, and Alolan Ninetales. I'm going to say Lapras, even though if I'm playing through the game, Walrein stays on the team a lot more often. Okay, moving on to Fighting type, where we have Hitmonlee, Hitmontop, Breloom, Toxicroak, Emboar, Hawlucha, Kommo-o, Phalanx, and Pawmont. And honestly, as much as I said Infernape would win here, Infernape isn't currently listed, so this is actually going to be Pawmont, I think. I think Pawmont wins for Fighting type because, one, it is the only win that Generation 9 has gotten here. I guarantee that. It's the only win Gen 9 has gotten here. But also, as Brisa mentioned, it's fast, it's strong, it's pretty reliable, elemental punches are great, it's cute, and it was like one of the only Generation 9 Pokemon that I came out of that game thinking I want to use one of these again in a future playthrough. Oh, they hopefully game I will like more. But yeah, Pawmont, I think definitely wins here. Second place, honorable mention would be Breloom, but I'm gonna stick with Pawmont for this. Moving on to Poison type, this is an easy choice for me. This is Roserade, because realistically, Roserade clears all the grass types. Like, Roserade clears all the grass types, and I like most of the grass types more than I like most of these poison types. So, yeah, Roserade effortlessly clears here. If I had to say second, third, and fourth place, I'd probably say Salazzle, Muk, and Crobat, probably. So now, moving on to Ground type, this causes me physical pain. Because I now have to choose between Rhydon, one of my favorite Pokemon since I was a kid, or Gliscor, one of the Pokemon that I just super find really reliable, or Crocodile, one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 5. Okay, so, Crocodile was the first Pokemon from Gen 5 that I trained up to level 100. And Gliscor I didn't care about when it first came out, so I'm gonna say no to Gliscor on that one. I think, but it is a flying scorpion. I like its design a lot. I think I'm gonna go with Gliscor. Like, Toxic Boost is kind of goofy, and I'm not a huge fan of the playstyle that is often associated with it, but I really like Gliscor a whole lot. However, I will say I like Rhydon over Rhyperior and Crocodile. Like, top 4 are Gliscor, Rhydon, Crocodile, and Donphan, with Flygon probably closing out top 5. Moving on to Flying type. And honestly, this one, I think I have to say Swellow. Swellow, much like Staraptor, is a key component of my Hoenn teams. Like, Swellow was a Pokemon that when Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out, I forced myself to go out of my way to not use one, because I knew that I would rely on it. Like, I knew I would rely on it too much, because when I was a kid, Breloom and Swellow were just on the team. Like, if I didn't choose Trico, then Breloom would kind of get shuffled out, but like, Swellow was always there. Swellow was locked onto that team, and it's always good. I'm kind of 50-50 on its shiny, but honestly, that's fine. Moving on to Psychic type. And I'm very quickly realizing that Psychic type is not my favorite here. I think I'm gonna say Espeon. Espeon is fast, it's powerful, it gets a lot of stuff going on for it. At some point later this year, I will have one as a starter Pokemon, because I'm playing Pokemon Colosseum at some point. Honestly, I don't know when all of these things are going to go up. I might have started it by the time I get around to editing this and putting it up, so who knows. So I'm going to say Espeon, but based on these, I'm also going to say Alolan Raichu, Slowbro, and Mr. Rhyme, and probably Gallade make up top 5. However, I want to give special mention to Girafarig, who narrowly missed out on both normal and psychic types, and is really high up the list for both. Okay, moving on to bug type, and this is the easiest choice of the entire video. This is Heracross. It's Heracross. It's easy. It's fast, it's strong, it's reliable, it's available in a good few games. I don't know why they seem... Like, I feel like they really kind of want to hide Heracross away because it's so good. But Heracross is just one of my favorite Pokemon, period. And honestly, if it was, you know, in the fighting type category, it would have probably won that as well. Or at least it would be, I don't know, I think Pawmot might get kicked down to third, while Infernape and Heracross just kind of duke it out for first place. But yeah, Heracross is my easy choice here. Top three would be... top three would add Yanmega and Butterfree in. However, obviously there are a lot of other great bug Pokemon that aren't included from here. Also, Durant gets an honorable mention. But like, because I picked them for other places, Galvantula is fantastic. Galvantula is great. Venomoth is great. I'm a huge fan of Venomoth as well. So yeah, there's a lot of really good bug types. It's one of my favorite types. Moving on to rock type. And this one is going to be Lycanroc. This one has to be Lycanroc because it isn't one Pokemon I like, it's 3 Pokemon that I like. And also, it was one of the only Pokemon I saw in Gen 7 the first time and went, this thing's going on the team. Like, 100% locked in instantly, that thing was going on the team. I thought Midnight Form looked super cool, that's partially why I wanted Pokemon Moon first. And yeah, it's going to be Lycanroc. It's represented here by the Midnight Form, but it is all 3. However, once I play Legends Arceus, Hisuian Arcanine may come through and get a super good showing. Golem will always be high up in my estimations for this. Also, special mention again to Rhydon. Archeops is fantastic. I love Archeops. And Tyrantrum is also great. I really like Tyrantrum as well. It was a key component of my team in X and Y the first time I played it. Moving on to Ghost types, where we have Haunter, Misdreavus, Banette, Mismagius, Chandelure, Trevenant, Decidueye, Hisuian Zoroark, and Cerulege. Now, I think my choice here is Banette, because it is a Pokemon that I always thought was kind of cool. I was a little, you know, caught off guard when I first saw it, because it evolved into that from Shuppet. I didn't really quite get that evolution, but at the same time, Banette is a Pokemon that I've always just been pretty fond of. It isn't the fastest, it isn't the bulkiest, but it can hit really hard when it needs to, you know, and also if it can survive a turn to land that hit. It also has one of my favourite Mega evolutions, which is also up for favourite gimmick form. And yeah, I just really like Banette. No disrespect to any of these though. The words. Obviously, also special mention to Gengar for also just being fantastic, and plenty of others. Moving on to Dragons, and this is where this is like this is a heavy hitter competition. Let's be real here. Turtonator never stood a chance here. So this is basically pseudo legendary city, or like not pseudos, but like might as well be. Okay, so obviously top 5. Well, top 4 are Dragonite, Salamence, Garchomp, and Haxorus. And now I'm left to decide between those 4. Dragapult is cool, I like Dragapult, it's not going to be Dragapult. Hydrapple, I haven't played the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, so that kind of just disqualifies it out of the gate. So, my main fault, currently, is I'm leaning towards Haxorus. I'm leaning towards Haxorus because of the fact that you get it relatively mid-game, and it hits really strong, it hits really hard, but it also gets Dragon Dance almost right out the gate. But at the same time, you get access to Gible to get a Garchomp 2 badges into the game, and the same cave has Earthquake in it. So Garchomp makes a very strong argument. However, if it came down to which one is my favorite, Like, which one is my favorite? Which one do I like the most? I think I have to say Salamence. Like, Salamence is just the kind of cool dragon thing that I always, like, envisioned. I remember, like, the first time I saw a Salamence, I knew I wanted one on my team. I didn't really know how to get one at the time, but I knew I wanted one, and eventually I caught a Bagon, trained it up, and I was never disappointed with Salamence. It's fast, it can take a hit really well, unless it's a nice type hit, then it's going to be a bit dicey. But it hits like a train. It has pretty solid special attack, but really good physical attack. It has Intimidate. In later gens, it gets Moxie. Genuinely, Salamence is just phenomenal. Also, a rare case of a green shiny that I genuinely really like. I think this shiny looks really nice. Also, fun fact, because of the way the SOS encounters work in Gen 7, if you get lucky enough to find a Bagon and can like maintain the SOS battle for long enough, there's every chance that it'll just call a Salamence and you can catch a level 10 Salamence. And if you manage that, the game probably just... I don't know, I imagine the game probably just, like, collapses in on itself because you've gotten, like, a fully evolved pseudo-legendary at level 10. And I imagine that's probably game-breaking, but also probably a nightmare to try to catch. Anyway, moving on to Dark-type. And, okay, so Absol gets a special mention here. Weavile gets a special mention here. But it's Hydreigon. It was always going to be Hydreigon. It was always going to be Hydreigon because Hydreigon would have won for Dragon-type as well. Oh, so, as much as I love Weavile, it's fast, it's strong. Okay, never mind. Like, Weavile is a Pokemon that I think for physical special split and honestly, its general introduction saved Sneasel from obscurity, and I think Absol is just a generally really cool Pokemon. These are my top 3. Obviously, there's plenty of other amazing Dark-type Pokemon that aren't listed here. You know, Crocodile, Bisharp. I'm suddenly just blanking on, like, all of them. I mean, Crocodile and Bisharp are kind of some of the main ones. Gen 5 was a great time for Dark-types just in general. Oh, like, you had Zoroark, which is great. I'm not a huge fan of Mandibuzz or Scrafty, but they're both really good as well. Like, Mightyena, I think, looks really cool. Sharpedo is super cool. Crawdaunt is really cool. Houndoom, obviously. Tyranitar. People really like Tyranitar. Like, honestly, Dark-type is a very good typing. I love Dark-type. Moving on to Steel, which, going from probably my favorite typing to probably one of my least favorite typings. So, my top 5 are Magneton here, out of the ones I currently have available. Magneton, Aggron, Lucario, and Bisharp are probably my top 4. And I don't really know what top 5 would be. I'm probably going to say Skarmory for... I think Skarmory probably just sneaks into top 5. So, basically, I'm kind of just mentally narrowing this down. It's either Lucario or Magneton. And I think I'm going to say Magneton, because Magneton was a Pokemon that for a very, very long time, I did not care about it at all. It was just one of those Pokemon that I saw and just thought, yeah, this is a thing that exists in the game. Then I actually used one, and it's great. And then with the physical special split, making Steel-type moves and Tri-Attack, you know, a bit more viable on it, it's even better. And since Magnezone exists in Gen 5 onwards, you can give it the Eviolite. Genuinely, Magneton became one of my favorite Pokemon. Well, one of my favorite Steel types. Like, if you ask me to put up a numerical list, it probably hovers somewhere around the top 100. But I'm not doing a numerical list, that would take me forever to decide. Okay, so, Fairy types next. And Fairy type, this is a very comically easy decision for me. So, Dachsbun, and Gardevoir, and Sylveon probably make up top 4, but Mimikyu was top 1. Mimikyu was top 1, locked in, probably never changing. Like, unless they make something incredible in Gen 10 onwards, I do not see a Fairy type, dethroning Mimikyu for me. I would also like to give special mention to Alolan Ninetales, though, because it's because it is super good. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they didn't go back and give regular Ninetales part Fairy. I think that could be kind of cool. But yeah, Mimikyu, honestly, I think I've already said everything I need to say about it. It just clears all of them for me. And this is another easy decision. This is Chimchar. Chimchar is my favourite starter Pokemon. If I was going to say a favourite fire, water, grass, Chimchar is obviously a favourite fire and favourite overall. Bulbasaur is probably my favourite grass starter. And then just based on their first forms, I think it's probably either Mudkip or Totodile. But yeah, in general, I have to say Chimchar. Infernape is my favourite final evolution of any starter Pokemon. Like, Chimchar itself is good, I like Monferno, but Infernape is like... Infernape was where I felt, okay, this was absolutely the right decision for me. Okay, moving on to favourite gimmick form. And now looking at this, this is kind of goofy to look at, because, like, you have this tiny Paldean Wooper, and then, like, you know, the normal-sized as Alolan Ninetales. I talked about it like a minute ago and I've already just blanked on its name. Then you have like all the Mega Evolutions and then these just absolute titans. But, okay, it's either Houndoom, Banette, or Absol. I think I'm going to say Houndoom. I think I'm going to say Mega Houndoom, but Mega Banette and Mega Absol are right there. They are 2 and 3. And honestly, if I was making this video on another day, they could also flip into places. They could be anywhere in top 3. Like, honestly, I would be very happy with any of these as my choice. Favorite legendary. Okay, so I want to give special honorable mentions to Articuno, Mewtwo, Raikou, Kyogre, Rayquaza, Dialga, Zekrom, Kyurem, Marshadow. Yeah, there's a few I want to give special honorable mentions to. However, I think I have to say it... Okay, top 3 are Groudon, Giratina, Reshiram. I just don't know the order for them. I think I'm... Okay, so Black and White is my favorite game. Like, Black and White is my favorite gen. Like, Gen 5 is my favorite generation. But I think I have to go with Giratina, because I feel like... And I feel like I have more of a kind of story and kind of connection with Giratina because of that. And also, just, like, it looks super cool. What, I stand by either, like, kind of going between which form I like more. Actually, now that I could just have it do that. Okay, that's kind of fun. I could just include both versions on there. That could be an interesting little thing. But no, I'm going to stick with Giratina, but Reshiram and Groudon are 2 and 3. Actually, no. No, I think it is Groudon. It might be Groudon. Yeah, I'm going to go with Groudon. No, I'm going to go with Giratina. This is why I shouldn't have done this, because I will just go back and forth on this forever. Okay, so I've decided. I'm going with Giratina. I'm locking in on Giratina, Ghost Dragon, and I have a kind of backstory with it, so I'm going to go with that. Now, favorite by each gen. So for Gen 1, my favorite Pokemon is Arcanine. For all the previously mentioned reasons. If I was to make a top 5 out of these, because obviously some of my favorites didn't quite make it because they lost in other categories. But my top 5 here would probably be like Arcanine, probably Gengar. Well, out of these ones, Arcanine, Haunter, Rhydon, then probably like Dragonite and maybe Tentacruel. I don't know, it's a difficult choice. But Arcanine is my definitive winner here. Gen 2, this is a no-brainer for me. This is Houndoom. Houndoom will always win this one. Houndoom... Actually, no, wait. Oh, it's Houndoom or Heracross. I forgot Heracross was Gen 2 for a second. Okay. So, Houndoom is great. I love Houndoom. But, at the same time, I have to go with Heracross because I can actually get a Heracross in the main game. Like, you know, because you can't get Houndoom normally until post-game. Because you can find it, like, outside of Celadon City in Kanto. So I'm going to go with Heracross just because it's available earlier. Now, moving on to Generation 3. I think it's one of these three. It's definitely one of these three. Swallow gets the most honorable of honorable mentions because, you know, it was a key cornerstone of the team for a very long time. Absol is fantastic, but I never really cared for it until much later. Actually, you know what? No. Because these are, like, I think I'm going... No. Yeah, this entire episode has just been me just kind of going back and forth on stuff. Also, there's Walrein. I almost forgot about Walrein. Okay, I like these more than I like Walrein. I'm going to go with Salamence. I'm going to go with Mence again. Mence is just a great choice all around. Okay, Gen 4. This is a absolute battlefield of titans here. Like, if I was to pick out a... If I was going to pick, like, a favorites, it's Infernape, Roserade, Gliscor, Weavile. Those are probably top 4. I think I have to say Infernape. Infernape is great. It's the final evolution of my favorite starter Pokemon, so I'm gonna lock in with Infernape on this one. But, like, these are extremely close behind. Even Glaceon is really close behind. Gen 5, once again, it's Hydreigon. It has to be Hydreigon. Because, realistically... okay, let's just skip right to the end here. Hydreigon is winning here. Like, I apologize for the spoiler, but Hydreigon is my favorite Pokemon, and it has been since I first saw it. Like, it's fast, it's strong, it does everything I need in it to. It does damage. It also has, you know, 2 of my favorite types in one. Okay, moving on, favorite Gen 6 Pokemon. This one? I'm discounting Legendaries and Megas for this. I think my favorite Gen 6 Pokemon might be Trevenant. I'm also realizing that maybe Gen 6 did not add as many new Pokemon that I really like as much as I think it did. I'm gonna go with Trevenant on this one, because realistically, I think it deserves a win. And actually, no. No, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Trevenant on this. Trevenant's great. And I did explain the reasoning for it in the in the Gen 6 video. Gen 7, this is a difficult decision between Lycanroc and Mimikyu. And I think it's Mimikyu. By, like, the narrowest of margins, it's Mimikyu. Cool. Like, I love Lycanroc, I love all 3 forms, especially the Midnight form. But Mimikyu, I don't know. Mimikyu almost made me completely 180 on the Fairy type, and that, just by itself, is a ridiculous feat. Steel and Fairy are 2 of my least favorite types. It's just, like, 100%. And Mimikyu nearly made me 180 on Fairy type. Okay, Generation 8. Obviously, the Hisuian Pokemon, I'm kind of discounting these because I haven't played Legends Arceus yet. But I think my favorite Gen 8 Pokemon is probably Boltund. Like, it's just a good dog. It's just a really fast, it's just a fast, strong, good dog. Like, because realistically, it was one of those Pokemon that I caught as Yampa and just thought, yeah, I'll keep this on the team for a little while, and then I was really pleased when it evolved, because honestly, yeah, it became a key component of my team. Now, moving on to Gen 9. This is Pawmart. Followed by Dashburn, and honestly, these are the only 2 I ever considered. They are by far my 2 favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. If I'd played the DLC, Hydrapple might be in the conversation as well. But no, Pawmart is definitely clear for Gen 9. It is by far my favorite Pokemon introduced in Generation 9. And now, the last choice. it's Hydreigon. Hydreigon is my favorite Pokemon. There are some that come close. Like, Infernape comes close. Arcanine comes close. Heracross comes close. Houndoom and a few others come pretty close. But no, it's Hydreigon. It has been Hydreigon since I first saw its design in Black and White 1. Like, 100%, that's locked in. Hydreigon is my #1 pick here. So to quickly run back through all of the favorites for each gen, we have Arcanine, Heracross, Salamence, Infernape, Hydreigon, Trevenant, Mimikyu, Bultund, Pawmot, and then for types, we have Staraptor, Arcanite, and Tentacruel, Torterra, Electivire. I'm gonna stick with Electivire. Lapras, Pawmot, Roserade, Gliscor, Swallow, Espeon, Heracross, Lycanroc, all forms. I love all forms of Lycanroc. Banat, Salamence, Hydreigon, Magneton, Mimikyu, Uchimchar, Mega Houndoom, Giratina, I don't mind which form, and then my favorite Pokemon, Hydreigon. So, we do have one episode of this left where I'm gonna do all of these, like, kind of miscellaneous things. But for now, that will do for today's episode. But as always, I will have this linked in the description, so you can, fill out your own one if you haven't already. And also feel free to tell me yours in the description below, not in the description, in the comments below. And as always, feel free to leave a comment or click any buttons down below if you feel so inclined. And I will hopefully see you all next time, where I finally finish off this thing. And I guess also put together my 6 Pokemon dream team, I suppose, at the end. But hey, I'll see how that goes. Okay. Thanks for watching. Later.